Hello students, this is Swati Gupta presenting a video in front of you on the concept of delegation of authority. In our last class, we have discussed about the concepts of types of organization and organization structure. Now, we are moving towards our next and the foremost important topic of this chapter, that is delegation of authority and decentralization. First of all, we will start with the meaning of delegation of authority. What does it mean? It means the granting of authority to subordinates to operate within the prescribed limits. As we know, that delegation itself means transfer, or in every organization, we know that the managers or a single manager is not able or he cannot perform all the work alone. He needs some people with whom he can share his work. So he needs to divide the work among different individuals working under him according to their skills, experiences, and qualification. So on the top level management, as a single person cannot perform all the works, the different peoples are given some responsibilities to perform a particular task. But to perform that particular task, to fulfill their responsibility, they also need some authority or power to take the decisions which are required to perform their responsibilities effectively. But if these authorities are lying in the hands of a single manager, in that case, all other peoples will not be able to perform their responsibility effectively. So when a manager gets overburdened by his work or is having a lot of work to perform, in that case, he divides or he delegates his authority, he transfers his authority from him to his different subordinates working under him. And this process is known as delegation. Simply, we can say that delegation is the process a manager follows in dividing the work assigned to him so that he performs that part which he only can perform because of his unique organizational placement. It means the things which the activities which a manager can only perform, he will keep that work, that activity with him, but the other things that can be performed by different peoples working under him at the level of top level management, he can delegate or transfers that authority to different peoples so that he can perform his work effectively and so that he can get others to help with what remains. Okay, now here I have shown a picture. The middle person is the manager, but different six peoples are working under him on the same level of management because he cannot perform all the work, all the lot of work that he is having. So he have divided the work to different peoples, to these six people, so that he can also perform his major activities effectively and others can also fulfill their responsibilities along with the authority which is required to perform that responsibility. Now, we have to discuss three elements of delegation, that is responsibility, authority, and accountability. We have to understand these three elements one by one separately. Let us understand first element, that is authority. The power to take decisions in order to guide the activities of others. It means authority is that power which influences the conduct of others. It represents that if a person is having a right to get the work done by others by giving them orders and instructions, that is known as authority. Or we can say authority refers to the right of an individual to command his subordinates and to take action within the scope of his position. What does this mean, within the scope? It means that he does not have authority to guide all the peoples or to give orders to each and every one. Authority has some scope. It means it has some scope. We can give orders and instructions to only those peoples who lies within the scope of our position. Now, the second element is responsibility. It is the obligation of a subordinate to properly perform the assigned duty. It means in the first element, with the help of first element, we can say that when a superior issues some orders or instructions to his, when a superior issues some orders or instructions to his subordinate, it becomes the responsibility of the subordinate to carry it out. For example, we can say when a teacher orders to complete the homework or a particular activity from home to a student, it on the part of the teacher, it is authority with them that he or she have the right to issue some orders. But when the student is listening or accepting that activity, that yes, I will perform that task, it becomes the responsibility of the student that he should carry out such activity which has been given by the teacher. Okay, now coming on to third element, that is accountability. Accountability means when a superior assigns some work to a subordinate, he is answerable to his superior for his success or failure. It means whenever you accept, whenever a subordinate receives a responsibility or he get the responsibility from the superior, it becomes his responsibility, he becomes answerable to his superior if that particular work is completed or not being completed. It means accountability means answerability. The accountability, students, arises once the authority is delegated and the responsibility is accepted. For example, we can take the example of our school. On the top level management, we have our principal, vice principal. On the middle level, we can say we have the coordinators, and on the lower level, we can say we have teachers. Principal cannot perform, cannot handle all the activities which are being conducted in the organization, in the school. For that, she has or he has to delegate some of his responsibility and authority to the middle level manager. But if the middle level manager also delegates their authority to the coordinators or to the teachers, it doesn't mean that the middle level person can get rid of his accountability. Still, he will remain answerable to his superior, or we can say answerable, the middle level manager will be answerable to the top level manager that why the things are not going well and if the things are going well. So it means accountability refers to answerability for the activity which has been assigned to you by your superior on the part of their authority. Now, we have to discuss the principle of absoluteness of accountability. What does it say? That authority can be delegated, but responsibility and accountability cannot be delegated by a manager. Maybe there is a confusion in your mind that we have discussed that manager when get overburdened or he or she has a lot of work, he divides his responsibility. Then why we are saying that responsibility cannot be delegated by a manager? Here we need to understand, students, that responsibility can never be fully delegated. It can be partially delegated after giving your responsibility or after transferring your responsibility to another people. It doesn't mean that delegation does not mean abdication. It means even after relieving the superior from his accountability or responsibility, you are still responsible for the activity that has been given to you by your superior. As I have told you that if principal have given some authority to any coordinator and due to lot of work, the coordinator has given that responsibility and authority to the teachers to perform, to help them out. Even then the coordinator is responsible and answerable to the principal if the things are not going well or if there is any mistake on the part of their subordinate. They cannot simply say that I have given the responsibility to the teachers or I have given the authority to the teachers, so what can I say if they are not performing well? It is not possible in delegation. It means you can give the authority to your subordinates, but still you remain responsible and accountable to the superior. So the authority granted to a subordinate can be taken back and re-delegated to another person. It means if the person is not performing their responsibility well, then it can be taken back by the superior and can be delegated to the another person. But the manager cannot escape from the responsibility for any default or mistake on the part of his subordinates. I would like to give one example for this to make your concept clear. For example, the production manager may issue some instructions and give responsibility to area managers to achieve monthly production target. But if the monthly targets are not achieved, the line managers or the area managers may explain to the production manager, but it is the production manager who is still accountable to the top management. He or she, whoever the person is, cannot hold area managers or workforce responsible for underperformance. Maybe he has given some authority that you have to increase the sale. But if the sales is not increasing, then he or she is still responsible and answerable to their concerned superior. Now, delegation of authority has some importance also. Let us start. First is effective management. It means it reduces, as we know that, I would like to explain you that we know that if all the minor policies, there are some minor activities and major activities in the organization. We cannot say that each and every activity is much more important, having equivalent importance, and we can also not say that everything is not of major importance. There are major policies also and minors also. So when a manager, due to a lot of work, divides his responsibilities and authorities with the peoples working under him, so it reduces the workload of officers. Officers here refers to the person who is having a lot of responsibility, so that they can thus utilize their time in more important and creative works instead of works of daily routine. It means by delegating or transferring the authority and responsibility of less importance to your subordinates, you can or you will be able to focus on your more important works, so that it will result in effectiveness. And by delegating the authorities and responsibilities, manager also can get the work done effectively and efficiently from the subordinates, because he has to perform his major activities only and rest of the work will be performed by the subordinates, which leads to effective management. As we know that effective means working on time in the correct manner. So working on time is possible only when the works get divided into different people. Second one is employee development. Employees get more opportunities to utilize their talent, which allows them to develop those skills which will enable them to perform complex tasks and will perform their future prospects also. It means delegation has the positive effects for the management as well as for the employees also. As a result, we can say that delegation employees get more opportunities. As a result of delegation, employees get the opportunities to utilize their talent, and they have the opportunity so that they can show their talent, their creativity and skills to their superiors, which will help them out to perform complex, means the difficult tasks which were being performed by the top level manager only. Now the other subordinates who are working under the top level management also gets the opportunity to perform that task, which will make them perfect and give them specialization to improve their future prospects, and it will result in their development also. Third one is motivation to employees. When a superior entrusts a subordinate with a task, it shows trust on the superior part. It means when a person is giving, when a manager is giving or dividing his responsibilities with the employee or the subordinate, then the subordinate feels that yes, my boss is having trust on me, that's why he's giving his responsibility to me. For example, sometimes if a manager is having an activity or a responsibility to prepare a budget, okay, or to prepare a buy, after preparing a budget he has to type in a computer. So rather than performing that activity by himself, he has delegated his responsibility and authority to his subordinate. Please type this budget in a computer screen and give me a printout. So in that case, the employee will feel that yes, my manager is having trust on me. That's why he has given the secret task of budget, which is not being enclosed to each and every people in the organization, working in the organization. He has entrusted me. Okay, so this will give the motivation to employees that yes, I will try to improve my performance so that my manager will trust on me and he will delegate his authority to me again and again. Fourth one is basis of management hierarchy. What does hierarchy means? The different levels of management in an organization refers to the hierarchy. It means delegation of authority establishes superior subordinate relationship. It means who is the superior, who has the authority to give the orders and who has to report to the superior. Which are the basis of management hierarchy of management? If all the activities, children, we need to understand, if all the activities needs to be performed by a single person, that is it possible that there are different levels? When the levels get established in an organization, when there are different peoples working under organization and each and every person is having some authorities as well as some responsibilities. If all the responsibilities, activities, authorities are being lying in the hands of one person only, there is no need of levels and there is no need of hierarchy. So only the hierarchy, management hierarchy is possible, making hierarchy is possible when there is delegation of responsibility and authorities. The extent of power delegated to subordinates decides that who will report to whom, and the power at each job positions forms the management hierarchy. Next is better coordination. The elements of delegation, authority, responsibility, and accountability helps to define the powers, duties, and answerability related to various job positions, which results in developing and maintaining effective coordination. It means that in delegation, it has been already decided there is systematically responsibility and authority is divided. So the employees are made answerable also for the completion or the non-completion of the task. So this systematic division of works will give us a clear picture of work to everyone. So each and every work will be performed by the employees only the number of times as given by the top level management, and they will work in coordination. Each one know that what are the responsibility and authorities, which will avoid duplication and will result in better coordination. Each person will work with each other with better coordination as there is clarity in duties and responsibilities assigned, and reporting relationships are also being assigned and also being clear. So it will result in coordination. When there is lack of coordination, it means that each and every person is not having complete knowledge about their duties and responsibilities. It leads to lack of coordination. But when all the things are already being clearly defined, it leads to better coordination. Now coming up to next concept, that is decentralization. It means dispersion of authority to take decisions throughout the organization up to the lower levels. It implies reservation of some authority with the top level management and transferring rest of the authority to the lower levels of the organization. As we have discussed in delegation, that it means dispersion of authority only to the workers or the subordinates working under the top level management. But if the dispersion of authority, it is a more wide concept as compared to the delegation. When the dispersion of authority to take the decisions move out up to the lower level means to the middle level as well as to the lower levels, it is known as decentralization. It is a very important concept, that it is a concept which is followed by the organizations which delegate or share the power to decide with all the departments and all levels of management. They are not only strict to the top level, even the middle and the lower level, supervisory level will also get the responsibilities as well as the authorities to take decision. The degree of giving authority may vary, the scope may vary. Someone has more authority, someone has less, but the authority is lying to the with the each and every employee. Here is another concept, that is centralization. It means authority retained at top level, and decentralization means systematic delegation of authority at all levels. We need to understand, students, that when there are some organizations who mostly adopts the concept of centralization as well as decentralization, but centralization means power in few hands, we can say. When all the authorities and responsibility, all the authorities are lying in the hands of top level management only. They are not giving the authority to any person. That is centralization. But when the authority is being divided to all the levels of the management in all departments, there is decentralization. Firm needs to balance the two. It means there should be, the minor policies should be decentralized and the major policies should be centralized. Now, we can explain, we can understand this with the help of a picture, that centralization means the power are in few hands. It means one man, this red dot this is representing a manager. It means all the powers are lying in the hands of the manager, and he is holding different employees in the organization. No one have any authority, only the one person is having authority in his hands. But decentralization means the manager has divided the authority to different levels of management. It means there are 5 managers, one manager has given the responsibility to this one, and he is having 4 subordinates working under him. He has to control these 4 subordinates. Second manager is also having some authority. 3 workers are working under him. In this way, in centralization, powers are in few hands only. But in decentralization, powers get divided into different levels, so that each and every person can perform their task effectively. Here are some importance of decentralization also. First one is develops initiative among subordinates. It means it helps to promote confidence because the subordinates are given freedom to take their own decisions. As we can say that in decentralization, there is complete freedom given to the lower level managers also to take decisions, as to train. It trains them to depend on their own judgment. Managers give them autonomy to depend on their own judgments. No need to ask again and again with the subordinate, with the superior. For example, that the coordinator has given in the school, the coordinator has given the right or the power to take the class test. Okay, the class test weekly wise or the day wise or monthly, as per their own wish. It means the teachers no need to ask. Only she has said, only he or she, the coordinator, have asked to take the test. Okay, it is the responsibility of the teachers to take test monthly or weekly. But authority has also been given that you can take that test as per your wish. No need to ask to the coordinator again and again before any test. So it means subordinates will get initiative, that we can do the work, we can perform the activity as per our own wish. We don't need to ask to our superior again and again, and this develops initiative among subordinates. Now, second one is quick and better decisions. It means when an employee or a subordinate does not need to ask to his superior again and again, it will save the time, energy, and efforts also, so that they can take their decisions very quickly. We can say that if we need to ask about a work again and again with our superior, so it takes a lot of time before an idea is coming in our mind. We need to ask to our superior again and again. But if we are free to take our decisions on our own, so it will help us in taking better and quick decisions as per our wish. Third one is relief to top level management. It means when the daily managerial works are assigned to the subordinates, it means when the manager has delegated the authority and responsibility to perform the minor policies to the subordinates, so it makes, which leaves enough time, it will give the enough time to the superior. They can utilize their time in developing new strategies. It means they can think about the new policies and strategies because they are having so much time. This will reduce the need of direct supervision from a superior. The superior will not it is not necessary for a superior to check the work of every person or employee, because he has given the authority to the all level managers. They will guide, motivate, supervise their subordinates working under them. So as a result, the superiors can utilize their time and energy to address, you can say, to address important policies and strategic decisions which was not possible if the authority was not delegated, because you need much more time in performing major as well as the minor activities. But if the minor activities has been delegated to all the levels of management, then major policies can be effectively performed. Now, coming on to fourth importance of decentralization, that is develops managerial talent for the future. It means it giving authority to the subordinates up to the lower level to take decisions regarding their work. In this way, the opportunity to take decisions helps in the development of the organization. It means in the decentralization, managers working at lower and even middle level also learn the art of making decisions. If the power are in hands of the top level management only, in that case or in that type of organizations, other peoples are not required to think some new or innovative and creative. But when they are given the autonomy to take the decisions, it will increase their creativity and thinking power. So the decentralization process prepares the management working at lower and middle level to perform the task of top level. They will be able to know that what are the tasks of the top level management. So whenever there is vacant job position at top level management, we can say the managers working at even lower level also can be transferred or can be promoted to the top level management, because now they are well trained, they are very much familiar with the work which are being performed by the top level management. As earlier, these authorities and activities, responsibilities were being performed by them, so they have become expert in all that area, so that they can easily be promoted to the top level management also, and it will develop their talent for the future. Not in the same organization, if they get the opportunity to work in some different organization also, or some most topmost organization, it will help them out, because they have now learned that how to perform the activities or the functions of top level management. Coming up to fifth importance, that is better control. It means it makes possible to evaluate performance at each level, which results in complete control over the activities. It means when a manager is performing the work, all the activities alone, it becomes very difficult to evaluate the performance of each and every person by a single manager. But if the authority has been delegated in decentralization, employees working at different levels, taking their own decisions, and they're personally accountable for their decision. It means they know that we are having authority and responsibility. So we are accountable also for the performance of our subordinate, so they cannot pass the time, they cannot pass the blame to their superiors. With decentralization, we can say better control can be exercised through, we can say, scorecard or different information systems and techniques. We can say that manager, it becomes very easy for the manager to evaluate the performance of each level, because every manager is taking their own decisions, they are own responsible as well as accountable, so they will not blame anyone. That if there is a task which has not been performed properly, they will be accountable only, they cannot blame each other for the non-completion of task, and it will also result in better control. Deviations, differences, mistakes can easily be identified in the case of decentralization is adopted. Sixth importance is facilitates growth. Decentralization awards greater autonomy to the lower levels of management, which encourages managers to give their best, which increases the production and give more returns, hence facilitates growth. When the peoples are given some authority and responsibilities, then the managers of different levels get encouraged, yes, that we have to perform better than others. They try to supersede their level or their department as compared to other department. They try to show their department much more good as compared to others. For this, they will perform better, they will increase their production level, and they will try to show some new ideas. But indirectly, who is getting the benefit from this? The top level management or the organization is getting the benefit from this. So in this way, it will help in facilitating growth as well as expansion. Again, I am explaining you that when each department is doing to their best, as they are accountable also for their respective department, so then productivity also increases, and it will also generate more revenue, income or profit for the organization, which can be further used for the expansion, and it will also result in growth. With this, we have completed our topic delegation and decentralization. Now there is a difference we have to study between delegation and decentralization. This is that first is nature. Delegation is a compulsory act, but decentralization is an optional policy. Why we are saying this? That delegation is a compulsory. It means any manager cannot perform whole tasks individually. Okay, so that's why we have to delegate the task. He have to delegate the task. It is compulsory. But decentralization is optional. It is not necessary that the top level management should divide or give the authority to the to the middle level or lower level of management. If they are able to perform the task at their respective level, then there is no need of pushing down the authority at every managerial level. Second one is freedom. It means less freedom to take decisions in delegation due to more control by the superiors, but in decentralization, more freedom is given. It means delegation is given. In the process of delegation, the managers pass the authority and the responsibilities to the subordinates. But even after that, there is constant and continuous supervision by the management. Why? As we have studied that still the superior is accountable. If he is having accountability, so he is having fear that if someone is not performing well, I have to give the answer. That's why less freedom is given. But in decentralization, accountability is also being delegated. It means they are the different level managers are accountable now. So top level management doesn't need to supervise the levels, all the different levels again and again, because more freedom of action is given by the top level management. Third is status. It is a process of sharing tasks, but it is the result of policy decisions taken by top level management. It means it happens when there is a lot of work with the manager or overburden of work. So in that case, he shares the work and authority. But whenever there is decentralization, it means deliberately and willingly the top level management has decided to give the responsibility, authority as well as the accountability to the different levels of manager. These process of decentralization already get decided in the policies of the organization, that we are going to provide, we are going to delegate such authority to the different levels of management. As we can say the example of school, principals or the owners of the organization of the school already decide that what are the tasks to be performed by the principal, then the coordinators and teachers. Deliberately they are delegating the authority. But if the principal gets overburdened by the work, or she is having or he is having a lot of work, then only they will perform this delegation. Then scope, narrow. Delegation has a narrow scope. Why? Because it is restricted to the top level management only, but decentralization includes delegation of authority to the all levels of management. That's why it has wide scope. Purpose. The purpose of delegation is to reduce the burden of management because of lot of work being performed by him. But decentralization increases the role and the autonomy of lower level of management. When an organization is thinking that we should give some freedom to the top level, to the middle level and lower level of management, only then they will adopt this concept or they will perform this function. So if they want to increase the role of their subordinates in the organization, if they want to retain all the major policies and decisions and everything in their hand, and they will not follow the decentralization, they will follow the concept of delegation. Now we have to discuss some more differences, as we have already studied these topics, that is formal organization and informal organization. As with this difference, we have completed our topic of delegation and decentralization. Now moving towards to the next difference, that is formal and informal organization. What we have studied, the meaning is it refers to the structure of well-defined authority and responsibility. It means formal organization has been deliberately created and everything is already decided. It has some authority and responsibility already been decided by the top level management. But informal, it has a network of social relationships which develops automatically. It means it is not being deliberately or voluntarily created. It develops automatically with the involvement of the people who are working in some organization itself. What is the nature of formal organization? Rigid and stable. It means there is no chance of getting changed, but even without the permission of top level management. Anybody cannot change the structure which has already been defined, but the informal is flexible as it has not been deliberately created. A group of friends, they can make any changes with as per their own wish. Third is authority. Arises by virtues of position in management. It means the formal organization arises by the virtue of position. It means if somebody is having top level authorities and different authorities, on the virtue of this, they will get the authorities and responsibilities. So it arises by the virtues of their position. But informal arises out of personal qualities. It means if somebody is very helpful, is having very helpful attitude towards each other, is very kind. So because of this type of organization arises. What is adherence to rules? Violation of rules are punishable because they have already been defined. But in informal, everyone is doing help of each other. It is a social relationship. It means so that there is no penalty and there are no punishments. Flow, it means formal organization always flows through the scalar chain. As I have told you, there is a sequence of steps to be followed for passing any information to any person. They have to follow a scalar chain, but there is no need to follow the scalar chain. It can be take place in any direction. Any person can talk to any person and they can talk to each other very freely. What is the purpose of creating formal? To achieve the organizational objective. Someone is having goal or target to be achieved. That's why they have deliberately created the formal organization. But informal is just to satisfy the social and cultural needs and to fulfill the common interest. They are helping each other to satisfy their personal needs or social needs. There is not an organizational objective to be achieved. Formation, it gets deliberately, but it is formed spontaneously. It means due to the social interaction of different peoples, it emerges. Structure, what is the structure? That well-defined structure of task and relationship. It means everybody, it means who is the superior, who is the subordinate. Everything is well defined. Who has to report to who has the authority to give the orders. Everything is clearly defined. But in informal, there is no clear-cut structure. There is no network. Anybody can be the superior, anyone can be the subordinate, anyone can give the order, and anyone can receive the order. There is no well-defined structure. Flow of authority. Authority always flows from top to bottom. It means downwards. A superior will give the authority, will give the order to the subordinate. Authority means order. The right to give the orders. So orders also get flows. Always gets flows from top to bottom, from superior to subordinate. But authority flows from vertically as well as horizontally in the informal organization. It means in all directions it can move. Anybody can give the order, anybody can receive the order from top to bottom, even bottom to top, because there is no one superior, no one subordinate. Each one is having the same level, each one is involving just to help each other or to fulfill social, cultural and common interests. So with this, we are completing the difference between formal and informal organization. Our third difference is difference between authority, responsibility and accountability. It is the most important difference that from the board point of view also. First is meaning. Authority means right to command. It means right to give orders. You have the right to issue instructions and orders to your subordinates working under you, and they have to follow the orders being issued by you. Responsibility means obligation to perform a task. When the authority is, when any order is issued, when some person, any employee has accepted that order, it becomes the responsibility. Now he has to perform that task being assigned by the manager in the authority. Now accountability means after performing the element, after accepting the responsibility, you also become, accountability means outcome of the assigned task, the person who is going to give the answer for the completion or the non-completion of the task, it refers to the accountability. Might be possible that the authority orders has been issued by a person, responsibility, the order has been accepted by a different person, but the answerability is of any other third person. It is not necessary that the responsibility and accountability lies in the same hands only. Origin, authority arises from formal position. It means when there is a position to whom we cannot deny, only from that person we can receive the order. Arises from delegated authority. Responsibility arises from the delegated authority. It means that you have given delegated, you have delegated, if some manager has delegated his responsibility, only then the responsibility arises. If the work is being performed by a single man only, it means there is no need to give any responsibility, because the person, the manager who is having authority is performing all the tasks, so he will not share any work, and if he is not sharing work, then anybody is not receiving any responsibility. Arises from responsibility. Accountability arises from responsibility. It means that when somebody accepts the responsibility, it becomes his answerability also, or any other person, that if I have received a responsibility, I have received the responsibility, so it's my responsibility to give the answer for the completion or the non-completion of task. How these element flows? Authority flows from downward. It means from superior to subordinate. It flows towards downward. To downwards, it means from superior to subordinates. Orders always flows from top to bottom. Responsibilities upward. It means responsibilities are always fulfilled by the subordinates for the superior. It means responsibilities are fulfilled by the subordinate. It means from bottom to top. It means towards superior. How is accountability? Upward from subordinate to superior. It means answer will be given by the lower level management. Oh, it is obvious. So the lower level management will give the answer to the top level management. In this way, it flows from bottom to top. It means towards upwards. Fourth difference is withdrawal. Whether the authority can be withdrawn? Yes, can be withdrawn anytime by giving notice. As we have studied, that authority can be taken back and can be redelegated to any other person. If the person is misusing his or her authority, then the manager or the superior can take back the authority and can redelegate it to any other person by giving a notice that you are not having such authority now. Responsibility cannot be withdrawn once created. Once you have accepted the responsibility, you are not in a position to deny. Okay, you have to fulfill such responsibility. Even you can give such responsibility to your subordinate. Don't be confused. For example, my mother gives me 100 rupees to buy something. It's my responsibility to answer. It's my responsibility to perform that task. It's my responsibility. But it is possible that I have given such responsibility to my brother, that I am having some different work. Please get this thing from the market. And I have also given 100 rupees. Even I am responsible for the task, because my mother will ask me only. I cannot say if there is any mistake in the thing that have been brought by my brother. I cannot say that I have delegated such responsibility to my brother, because I was given the responsibility by my mother. So responsibility cannot be withdrawn. Accountability also cannot be withdrawn once created. If I have accepted the responsibility, only I am answerable to my mother whether my brother has performed the task correctly or not. So in this way, students, we have completed our differences. 3 differences we have discussed. Next topic we will discuss in the next video. Thank you.